What is up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. So I'm going to be doing something really different today. I'm going to be doing some of my true crime series. If you like my true crime series, you can also let me know that you guys like it, and you can also comment down below what cases you want me to cover, and I'll do them for y'all. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a case on Karissa Boudreau. This case does consist of kids. It consists of a child being murdered. So, you know, if that's not something you like, you can always click out this video and comment down below what cases you want me to do, and I will cover those for you. But I just thought I'd give a warning on that because I know some people are sensitive when it comes to kids. But anyways, I always wanted to be a homicide detective. My life went a different route, so I can't really be a homicide detective, but I can do my true crime series cases for you guys. So anyways, let's get straight into the video. I'm gonna try to make each video 20 minutes. So if this video go past 20 minutes, you know, I'll do a part 2 on it and I'll finish it. But anyways, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and hit the post notification bell so you can get notified when I post a new video. So anyways, let's get straight into this true crime series. Okay, so I have the notes on my phone. I don't know if you can see that. Is it focusing? Yeah, so I have all this when I'm talking about the Karissa Boudreau case in my phone, and I'm recording off another phone. So I'm gonna also be kind of looking at the camera sometime too. But okay, but anyways, let's get straight into it. Karissa Boudreau was born October 4th, 1995. She lived in Bridgewater, Nova Scotia, Canada, with her mother, Penny Boudreau, and her mother's boyfriend. His name was Vernon McCumber. So, now if you don't know where Bridgewater is, it's located approximately 90 millimeters southeast of Halifax. In the town, everyone looks after one another. They speak to each other, smile at each other, and are just super kind to one another, even if you're a stranger. So even if they don't know you in the streets, they'll still speak to you. They'll still make sure you're okay. That's just how that town was. You know, everybody was just there for each other. So Karissa enjoyed music and teddy bears. She even loved to have birthday sleepovers. So like, even when it was her birthday, she would just have a sleepover with all her friends from school, you know, just people that she knew, just little girls that she knew, because at the time she was a little girl. So even though Paul and Penny were split up, if you don't know who Paul is, I'm going to inform you who Paul is. Paul is Karissa's dad. So that's the child, Penny's child's father. His name is Paul. So them two, they really got along really good. You know, anytime Karissa's mother worked, anytime, you know, Penny worked, Paul would look after Karissa. So like, she would go to her. Like, their co-parenting relationship was just really good. You know, they were getting along really good, and they were doing that for Karissa. So the two who weren't really getting along was Karissa and her mother. Their relationship was very rocky. It wasn't really good. It was rocky. Karissa was in the 6th grade. Karissa ended up, you know, one day she ended up just coming out to her mama, just asking her, "Hey mom, can I go move in with my dad?" And her mama, you know, she agreed to it. So, you know, she agreed to it. Even though Karissa and her mom didn't really get along, once she went to go move in with her dad, 9 months later, Karissa just told her dad, you know, "Hey, I miss my mom. I want to go move back in with my mama." And that's how it is. You know, she still had love for her mama. She still cared for her mama. And she just wanted it to go make sure her mom was okay. So she went and asked her dad, "Could you move in?" And of course, Paul would do anything for his daughter. He would do anything to make sure his daughter is happy. He would do anything to just make sure she had a smile on her face. So he agreed to it, and he let her go move back in with her mom. One day, Paul's life completely changed forever. His life just completely changed. After a few months of Karissa moving back in with her mother, Penny ends up calling Paul to inform him that Karissa is missing. So, of course, Paul was shocked and he couldn't really understand what she meant by missing. What do you mean she's missing? Like, she can't be missing. Like, he was just completely confused. He was completely confused that he got that type of phone call from Penny because he was not expecting that type of phone call from her at all to let him know that his wonderful, beautiful daughter has disappeared. So, Penny said that Karissa was last seen in the mall parking lot in front of Sobeys. Sobeys is a little store, it's a little market there. It was reported that Karissa and her mom were arguing, and Penny walked back into the store to purchase Fremont items, and Karissa was gone. She was absolutely nowhere to be found. Like, her mama, Penny said that she walked back into the store, and when she came back, Karissa was just completely gone. Like, she didn't know where she had went. Police started their search on the ground in the area, but it was kind of hard being the fact that it was snowing. Even the search helicopters was having a hard time. So, like, even though being the fact that it was snowing so bad, even the people in the air, it was hard to see the ground because of all the snow. So you couldn't really see what was going on the ground. That's how bad it was snowing. As the hours went by, police was very concerned about Karissa's safety. They wanted it to make sure Karissa was found safe and alive. They didn't want anything to happen to her. So they were doing their best to search for this little girl to figure out where she could be. Eventually, the weather started to clear up, so divers were able to search the river. The snow started clearing up because it was getting sunny outside. So it was starting to become very, very easy for them to search what was going on in the river. So they were able to go in the river and see, can they find Karissa there. Police did everything they can to search for Karissa, but there still wasn't any answers for Bridgewater police officers at all. They interviewed classmates, they interviewed relatives, they interviewed teachers and friends. People were calling the police what believed to be sightings of Karissa, but they turned out to be false. People were doing everything they can to help find Karissa by putting up posters and even making Facebook pages saying help find Karissa Boudreau. 2 weeks after Karissa disappeared, a tragedy happened. A complete tragedy happened that broke everyone. A woman called 911 to inform them that her 9-year-old boy had seen human toes sticking out in the snow beside a riverbank on a turnoff. And you could just understand how scared that little boy must have been to see human toes. Like, you could just understand how frightening it was for him to find this type of discovery, being the fact that he was only 9, so him seeing this type of discovery must have really, really freaked him out. So, after he seen the human toes, he went to his mom and he let his mom know that he see human toes. And you could just understand the fear that even his own mother had when she walked up there to see what her little boy was talking about. And she seen the body. Like, just imagining how gruesome that must have been for them too. Like, and very painful and heartbreaking. Everyone was wondering, was the human remains Karissa? But no one would know until an autopsy came. So everybody just had to sit around patiently and wait, and it sucks having to wait to see is that body, your missing little girl, it sucks to have to sit there and constantly look on the news, constantly look at newspapers, hear the word around town that the body is your little girl. Like, it sucks having to wait on that autopsy to be done. And while the autopsy is being done, all you can think about is, I pray that's not my daughter. Like, I pray it's not her. But there's another part of you that's like, she was the only one reported missing. So that just might be my little girl. That just might be my beautiful little girl. So, you really have hope. But you make sure you can get yourself together, because you make sure you can just understand that you just might have to face the worst news of your life. And eventually it was confirmed that that body was Karissa Boudreau. And I could understand the pain. I could just completely understand the pain that her dad had, and her mom. I could completely understand that pain to hear that is your daughter. Like, their hearts must have been completely broken, like, completely. So Carissa's cause of death was asphyxiation, and she had been strangled. Her clothes were rearranged to make it look like she had been sexually assaulted. And the reason I say that is because sometimes that might not even be the case. Sometimes a victim might not even be sexually assaulted and somebody makes it look like they have been sexually assaulted. But in other cases, that could possibly be. Paul's mother, Susan, was so devastated that her granddaughter was murdered. Like, and her heart, like I said, her heart's probably broken too, because that's her grandbaby. Like, that's like a second child to her. And to hear that her granddaughter was just taken away from this world really, really broke her. She was starting to feel like Penny and Vernon were involved in Carissa's murder. And I say this because when someone goes missing and then they turn up murdered, the first person who are gonna be suspected is the person's relatives. Like, that's gonna be the first people they accuse. Like, if a woman get murdered, her or a dude or a man get murdered, the spouse is gonna be the first person they do question, because they just do that. They suspect the relatives or the spouses until you're ruled out. So the police in Bridgewater did suspect that Carissa and Vernon's mother had something to do with it, but they didn't have enough evidence to say it was them. But they expected that they could have been involved in her murder, being the fact that Carissa's mom was the last person to even see her alive. You were the last person to see her alive. Okay, they only felt like this because they interviewed everyone, and none of them seemed like they would do anything to Carissa, which was the complete truth. Like, the police in Bridgewater, they interviewed everybody in Bridgewater, and nobody came up to them fishy. Like, nobody appeared fishy to them. The only people who they were getting suspected of was Carissa's mom and her mom's boyfriend. Like, they just felt like something ain't right about these two. Like, something is just completely not right about these two. Their stories, it's just not adding up. Like, it's just not adding up. That's how the police in Bridgewater felt, that it was just completely not adding up at all. So they needed to do something about it. The only person who really had seemed fishy to the police was Penny. So Vernon, he seemed fishy. Like, he seemed fishy, but he didn't seem as fishy as Penny Boudreau. Like, he didn't seem as fishy as her. She was the one who they were really trying to focus on, because her story just didn't really make sense to the Bridgewater police. It didn't make sense to anybody, none. Paul was even like, Paul, your child's father, Carissa's dad, he is starting to feel fishy. Paul was eventually starting to feel fishy about Penny, as well as the Bridgewater police. So the Bridgewater police was the only one who felt some type of way. Paul was starting to feel some type of way about his child's mother. He was starting to, understand that, hold on, when she's like, her story is just not adding up to me at all. It's just not making sense. Paul even said that when he went back to Bridgewater, Penny's body language was just completely off. Like, her only concern was about Vernon. Is Vernon okay? Vernon hurt his leg. Your daughter, you just reported that your daughter is missing, and the only person you're focusing on is Vernon. That just doesn't make sense. It's just, something's just not adding up, because wouldn't you be concerned about your daughter rather than a man? This is your child. This is the one that you birthed, the one that you carried for 9 months, the one that you raised, the one that you brought into this world. And the only person you're concerned about is a man? A man. You've got to be kidding me. And then when you come to find out the news that your daughter was murdered, you're still more concerned about him. You're more concerned about a man. Not only did your daughter go missing, but your daughter just turned up murdered. And your focus is still on a dude rather than your own child. The one who you're supposed to love and protect and make sure she's okay. But your concern is not even on her. It's on a man. Eventually, Penny was brought in for questioning and asked if she had anything to do with her daughter's murder. And she said, "My lawyer advised me not to speak." But Penny and Vernon were released because detectives didn't have enough evidence to charge them with murder. Police was becoming suspicious, so they opened a Mr. Big sting operation where undercover officers pretend to be criminals. They have to gain the trust of a suspect, so that way, if they did anything, they'll confess it. After 4 months of the sting operation, Penny finally told the truth of what happened to Karissa. She had murdered her own daughter. The one who you brought into this world, you were her murderer. She said that after buying some groceries, Penny had returned to her car where Karissa was waiting for her. She went to the truck where she grabbed a piece of beige twine and put it in her pocket. She drove Karissa around until it got dark. Once it hit dark, she drove Karissa to a secluded spot. They both got out of the car and Penny pushed and tackled Karissa, and then she fell to the ground on her back. She said Karissa then said to her, "Mommy, don't." Karissa was scared. Like, that little girl's life was frightening. This is your mother, and out of all the people in the world, your mom wants to hurt you. The one who's supposed to love you, she wants to hurt you. Penny was face to face with her daughter. Penny used her knees to strangle Karissa down, and then she strangled her with twine. Her daughter, once Karissa stopped breathing, she dragged her body to the car and put her in the passenger side of her car. She then drove back into town to her second location, which was by the river. Some of Karissa's clothes had come off when Penny was dragging her body to the car. Instead of her putting her clothes back on to at least have respect for her child, she undressed her own daughter because she assumed people would think that since her clothes was off, people would assume that she just had been sexually assaulted. Like, you didn't have no type of respect for your child. First of all, you shouldn't have even murdered your child. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. She then rolled her body over the edge of the bank. She felt like since it was snowing, no one would find Karissa for a while. She was plotting to murder her own daughter. She was plotting to murder her own daughter for several days. Like, that's just crazy. So every time she looked at her daughter, she would picture herself murdering her. Like, this was premeditated murder in my book. Penny was charged with first-degree murder. She told undercover cops she murdered her daughter to save her relationship with Vernon. Like, what? You murder your own child because you felt like your child was in the way? So you wanted to take her out of this world when you could have just simply gave her back to her father. She said to Penny, when Penny told the detective that Vernon is the one who told her she had to choose between him or Karissa. Vernon said he didn't. When they talked to Vernon and told him what Penny said, Vernon said that he did tell her that, but he said that them two were arguing and fussing every day. So he told Karissa that if she didn't fix her relationship with her child, he was going to leave her. So he said that he told Penny, not Karissa, my bad, y'all. He said that he told Penny to either send her back to her dad or fix our relationship. To Penny, all she heard was, "You either get her out of the way or I'm leaving." Like, he said that he told Penny that either she fixes her relationship with her daughter, that like she get rid of Karissa, or he's leaving. And to Penny, she looked at it like, okay, well, I'm just gonna kill her. Vernon said he didn't know Karissa would kill her own daughter. Like, he thought that maybe she would send Karissa back to her father and have her stay with her father. He said that he was not expecting Penny to literally kill her own daughter. He said he even denied saying he told her to choose. All he said was, you just send her back or I'm leaving. He said the argument between the two needed to stop. Basically what I just said. And Penny was sentenced to 23 years in prison. I think that she should have got more years in prison, being the fact that that was premeditated murder. Like, you intentionally wanted it to kill your daughter to save your relationship with a man. It just doesn't make any sense. But anyways, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, you can comment and what cases you want me to cover, and I will. This is my first time doing a true crime series, so I'm sorry if I sucked, but I will get better. So yeah. Anyways, always read the description of each one of my videos, and I will see you guys in my next video.